Hey folks, thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of Yoml. This is the year of magical learning. Today we have Reflection 204. I guess this is a book I haven't read, so I guess I'll just leave it to Chris to do his thing.
Yeah, this was a fun book. This is another Mary Roach book.
Okay, okay.
Do you
Yeah.
remember Fuzz, the book Fuzz that we did a little bit
Yes,
ago?
yeah,
Um,
what was it?
the female Bill Bryson,
Yes,
or Bill Bryson is the male Mary Roach.
Mary Roach, right?
Yeah, yeah. So this book is called Stiff: The Curious Life of Human Cadavers by Mary Roach. So it's about exactly what it says it is. It's about human cadavers and like what they've done, and the impact they've made in our lives for centuries, for research, for studying, for science, for testing diseases, for understanding why we died, and doing autopsies and just like how the body dies basically and what happens when you die, like very detailed, super uber learning, Bill Bryson-esque style book where it's just learning on top of learning on top of learning while they slowly take you through a journey that you never thought you could take, where you're having fun learning about human cadavers. So it was an interesting book. I the first half of this reflection was, just talking about, Bill Bryson and Mary Roach style books, where it's almost like, the idea of being like profoundly simple, and clear and concise and understanding like what your message is with like a Mary Roach and Bill Bryson kind of book. It just, there is no clear message, but it's like, and it's just like learning on top of learning. I called it like, it's like an indulgence, when you eat like fettuccine Alfredo, or something like that, you shouldn't eat more than a couple times a year or whatever, but it's like so good and you just can't stop eating it. And you're like, look, I know this is not good for me. Like, I know I'm not really learning anything too much about it, but damn it, it feels good in the moment. And it's just like, it's like a fun little journey that you go on, where you're like,
Mhm.
you know, you don't regret it afterwards, but you also know, like, I can't do this every day, like I can't, like, this is not something that it's an indulgence. It's a
You
learning
had your
indulgence,
fill, huh?
right. Yeah. It is, yeah. I mean, you know what I'm talking about with like a Bill Bryson book, right? Where
Right, right.
it's just so much learning packed into it. And it's hard to pick out like a message out of it a
Yeah,
lot of times,
there's no more
because
room to pack it in
right,
after you
right,
read his book, because he's taking you. It's like, I mean, the title book said that like the history of nearly everything. It's like,
right.
whoa, duh, it's a lot of stuff. I
It's a
mean,
lot of
yeah.
stuff. I mean, it's just, but it goes to show you, actually, it's really interesting when you get inundated with a lot of stuff. It's hard to pick out one thing that you can really like anchor on to apply to your life, and that is actually, like the problem with these books. Like it's like the opposite of a fiction book, where you're like struggling to find like what is the essence of this fiction book, versus like this is like, there's so much, like, my head's like gonna explode. I can't figure out like how to narrow my focus into what I can like learn and apply from this book. You know what I mean? But either way, it was a fun indulgent journey with Mary Roach, and I learned a lot about human cadavers. But if you ask me right now about, and if I could recall anything from this book, just like every Bill Bryson book, except for the ones that he does like stories, I don't remember any of it. Like, I mean, there's nothing that I remember about human cadavers that other than they're important to life.
Mhm.
But that said, it's still, as I sat down the next day after finishing it and I was writing a reflection, what this book made me think about was the idea that the purpose never expires. Human cadavers, obviously we know we want to live a purpose-driven life while we're here, but as we've learned on this whole entire journey, purpose, it doesn't necessarily expire when you expire. Like there is a purpose to a cadaver. There's a purpose to, just like there's a purpose to life, there's a purpose to death. There's a purpose for the things that you can teach other people. There's a purpose for the stuff that you leave for other people. And it made me, of course, this took me down my normal rabbit hole of thinking about my daughter, right? Like, I mean, she was only here for such a short period of time, but like her purpose, what she taught me, and what I learned from her, and what we're learning together, and what we're sharing with other people, like that purpose continues on and on and on for forever and ever and ever, to the point in time where it's blended in my mind. Is she here or is she not now? And I don't really know anymore, because she's become so important in my life and so multifaceted in all the things that I do and how I continue on a relationship with her. That, like, of course, I know that she isn't physically here with me, but I mean, she definitely is here with me spiritually and purpose, and and helping me to aid my purpose, which will ultimately help to aid other people's purpose. And there's just a circle of life, and it just goes on and on and on. And purpose really never expires, I guess. At the end of the day, is kind of what this book made me think about. Like, if you can find value in a cadaver, like, you can find value in anything in this world, right? And it just, it's just a circle of life, I guess, if you will. And it's just something to keep in mind, and like a more of a higher level perspective around around the value that we bring to this world. It isn't just stop while we're here. It can continue for as long as we I don't know. I don't know where we go, but like it can continue for a very long time, maybe even indefinitely. I don't know. Our nutrients go back to the soil. Our carbon dioxide goes back to the air. Maybe that spurs on a new plant to grow. I don't know. I mean, like it doesn't. It's kind of irrelevant how that purpose transforms into something else, I guess. But it does. And this was an interesting book to learn about, and kind of open my eyes and remind myself of that fact. So I'll kind of pause there. The question was, how does the memory of a loved one that are no longer with us influence you each day? But I don't know if you want to answer that question, or you want to just talk about the topic in general. But yeah, love to get your thoughts. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. No. Am I on mute or something? You got me?
Hear me now? Hear me
Yeah,
now?
I got you.
Yeah,
There you go.
for
Yeah.
it got cut off for a second. My
Yeah.
headphone, yeah, it's the Bluetooth thing. But I heard you. So
Yeah.
for me, I think it's hard to kind of distinguish between your purpose and purpose in general, because I think when I'm talking about purpose, I'm talking about my purpose.
Mhm.
And when I refer to purpose, I'm referring to each one of us as a purpose per our perspective. I think there is a purpose in everything, but for example, for the cadaver, the purpose of that person who died already, I mean, his purpose ended. It is the person that's using it, that's his or her purpose. Yeah, to learn from, how what happened after we die, whatever. That's the purpose of the people that are still living. The purpose of your daughter, right? I think her purpose is done. It is the memory that you carry, and that's your purpose, not her purpose. Her purpose is done. She done her job.
Yeah,
So
but
so
it's but it's not done if it still carries on. Like,
no,
like,
it's your purpose. You took her inspiration and you made it your purpose. I just want to make sure I understand that clearly, because in my mind, when you, like I said, you and I are born with a certain set of DNA. We are to express those DNA. But when we die, we die. I mean, it's just we gone, right? Whoever is living and see that as an inspiration and take on that becomes your purpose. You took on that purpose. It's not hers no more. She's done her job. She has lived her purpose. So that's what I'm saying is I'm kind of a little bit not 100% with you on this purpose, is because to me purpose is individualized, meaning that you find purpose because it is your perspective, it is your gene that needs expressed. You are a donkey in the shed, right? If you're not a donkey, if you are a little toolbox in the shed, then you want to be in the shed. It has nothing to do with, okay, there is a purpose that the donkey, once he die, right, he doesn't get the job anymore. He has another purpose. No, he doesn't have a purpose. A beaver must dam, right? Once he die, well, he doesn't need a dam anymore. There's no purpose. But the thing is, we other people can use that as a lesson to learn, to understand what it is that we need to do to reflect our true purpose. So the thing is, I don't want to say that your daughter is not living with you. She is, because you carry that on, because you chose that. She showed you the true purpose of your life. So you basically look at her inspirations and truly reflect it on yourself and say, well, I wasn't damning, or I wasn't doing the lion pride thingy in the past, right? I was doing out there doing the hustling and bustling and doing the grind and eating the frog, right? You think you're some kind of pelican, I don't know. But now you say, well, I'm a lion or whatever, and then you want to be true to that. And so she shows you your true self. She shows you who you're supposed to be. And basically you say, well, I carry that on with me to remind me this is who I'm supposed to be. And I have this amazing daughter to be thankful for. And like I say, I'm not taking anything away from her memory, but she has done her job. She's done her purpose. She fight the good
She
fight.
she did her job
But then this is
in
your
life.
purpose.
I don't know.
Your purpose is to carry on
I
your purpose is live for
I
two.
disagree. Well, hang on. I disagree, because like her doctors, she like could have inspired them to be one step closer to curing neck for other babies or something like that, right? Like, she could have
But
inspired,
that's their purpose, not her purpose. I mean,
well,
I want to make
hang
sure
on,
people
hang on.
understand, because if I tell you that, hey, the the you are the result of your gene expression, and when you say somebody has completely passed on, and they see her purpose, to me, it's
Your video just disappeared. You there? There you go. I can't hear you now. I guess I can't hear you. No, I still can't hear you. No. Is your Bluetooth on? Mm-mm. We're having technical difficulties, folks. It's the only way I can get True to shut up.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Good old fashioned wired device.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So continue what we're saying.
Yeah, no, all right. So I was gonna say, in the forest, when a tree dies, they literally become nutrients and food for, their offspring and the soil, and then they also free up light for other, trees to grow and thrive and survive at the top of the canopy, and there is a purpose in their passing, and then they continue on to nourish other people, whether they know it or they don't. I really do think that your purpose just evolves. Amelia's purpose is still Amelia's purpose. I agree with that. Her purpose is not my purpose, I can learn from her purpose and it can inspire my own purpose, but like her purpose is still here. I don't know what it is, and I don't know how it's transformed and how it manifests itself, but I truly believe that, like, once your living purpose is expired, then your after living purpose begins. But I don't know what that is because I've never experienced that. And I won't know what that is until I do get a chance to experience that. We'll never know that kind of stuff. But like, I truly do believe that she's still doing what she's supposed to be doing in this world, and she, is still here with, in whatever way that she is. Like, I mean, I really do believe that. Like, I mean, I don't think that that's like I can't prove it. I can't. There's no science behind it. There's no logic behind it. Like, all I know is I believe that happens, like, for everybody, for anything, every living entity in this world. I feel like they continue on in just a new path, whether, and that purpose continues, whatever that is. I don't know how it transforms, but whatever it is, they're still doing it.
But then again, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that I'm doing what I want to do because my physical genetics is require me to do certain things, and I must do them to feel good. But the
Sure.
moment I'm dead, you can throw me into the ocean, you can put me into the fire and burn me up. I mean, I don't feel anything, right? My purpose is done. And yes, there is, if you're talking about a tree or cadaver, right? They have usage, but usage, like in this sense, I'm looking at this from the universal sense, right? Like as a floating, third party watching a spectator. The purpose is for someone else's to use. That means that someone else is using you for their purpose. So, you know what I mean? Because for me, like I said, I want to clarify what I mean by purpose. Purpose meaning you're doing things that is aligning with who you are supposed to be. I mean, to be a cadaver, right? A cadaver, yeah, you can use it for scientific research, but you don't exist on Earth to be a cadaver to advance scientific research. To me, even think about that, it doesn't make sense. Because yeah, I mean, it's a side product, it's another secondary important. Like, yeah, if I'm dead and I don't mind you cut me up and figuring out why I die and what kind of disease I have and learn from it. But from my perspective, I don't think it has anything to do with how I was made, right? If I'm made to be, honest, or I was a thief when I'm a cadaver, I'm a cadaver. It's not going to change how I behave, how I um feel, or anything like that. So that's what I'm saying is when we are defining the word purpose, right? To me, I'm thinking is the purpose aligned to who you're supposed to be, who you need to be, versus what you can be used for. You see
I
a
mean,
tree can die and be used to be nutrients for the
it's
other trees,
it's
but it's the
it's
other
not
tree's
it's not it's
purpose.
not what they're it's not what they're that is a part of their purpose, is what I'm trying to say. It's like that purpose continues on, whether so.
But then
So
back
I,
in
I think of
back
I
in the
think of
ancient days, people don't use cadaver to learn anything. So
well, I
you
don't know.
talk.
I don't know that's true. I don't know.
I mean, I doubt that they do.
I don't. I would doubt that they didn't. I mean, why would you not? Like, if somebody died of some like
I mean,
disease or something
I
like
mean, the
that, like,
thing is, back in the ancient days, before let's say, uh, more than 10,000 years ago, you would think that people would cut you up and study you, or maybe eat you, right? They probably eat you. Say, hey, this is meat. I'm gonna eat this person, until people start dying of diseases, and then they start burying people, right? They don't start doing the purpose, right? This is just by random chance. This is called you learn and evolve through the learning, through the things that happen to you, the atomic bomb that comes to your way. But as far as you think about, like, okay, if you say the cadaver's purpose, right, is to give people more advanced research and studying and whatever, well, that probably didn't happen until the last, I would say, like, 3,000, 5,000. I mean,
I
ever
mean,
usually
yeah, I mean,
10,000 years.
you're talking about cadavers. I'm not. That's not really what I'm talking about. I was just talking about that. That's just like one step of an example that the purpose. That there is purpose in other. ways in this world. Okay, so when I think of purpose, maybe this will help with aligning on what we think purpose is. So for me, like I think
I
purpose
mean,
is
the thing is, this is what I'm saying is, I don't like the fact that my purpose is to be a battery for the society to use me in however way they want. To me, I abhor that image.
yeah. I mean, well,
So,
I guess it's not. But to your point, it's not you anymore. Like
well, but that's what I'm saying. I have a purpose. My purpose is to be a obedient citizen and do the labor work for the society to be whatever. I mean, advancement of human society, whatever. My job is to contribute to society as if I'm this battery to just like the Matrix, right? The humans, like they put into this pods. Their purpose is to be this battery for the machines. So they have a purpose in that world. And to me, thinking that image, it just terrifies me.
I mean, fair enough. Okay, so let me backtrack really fast. Okay, so when I think of purpose, I think of a combination and a manifestation isn't the right word, but a um, uh, maybe you could say manifestation, like a combination that leads to a manifestation of your values, right? And that ultimately is expressed as something that we call purpose. Like it
But
all
that's
is
a
coming
that's the
together.
question is how does purpose is determined?
Well, purpose. That's what I'm saying. Is I
How do
think
you
purpose
determine purpose?
I think purpose is a combination of your values plus your actions, like, and that equals
But
purpose,
your
right?
cadaver has no actions.
But it does, like, and also, like, it's decomposing is an action. Like, I mean, that is absolutely an action. Like, there's a lot of other
That's the
things that are
that's the
that are
purp
that.
that's the purpose of Mother Nature. Mother Nature is to recycle. That's her
Well,
purpose.
then you could say the purpose of Mother Nature is to have us live too. So I mean, like, then you're saying, well, we're just doing what we're supposed to right now,
But
and
I'm
like that's our
saying is
purpose.
back to what I'm saying is we have to define what it is mean to have purpose, right? To have purpose is it to have usage?
No, I think having well, purpose is an abstract concept in general, right? So it can be whatever you
So
want
that's
it
what
to
I'm
be.
saying. It's a purpose to me. Purpose to me. Okay, let me correct me if I'm wrong. A purpose has to have an owner because my purpose
No,
is
I don't think so.
different from your purpose.
No, I don't think so, because you can have the purpose of an entity, like, the United States of America has a purpose. The Catholic Church has a purpose.
Like I say, an owner.
No,
United
because
States is an owner. The Catholic Church is an owner. Mother
no, they're
Nature
not.
is
They're
an
not an owner.
owner.
What is the Catholic Church? Like, I mean, like, that's a body of people, but it's not. It's not. But it's also not one person. It's not one entity. I mean, it's not. It's not one thing. Like, I mean, it can.
It don't have to be. I mean, it doesn't have to be one thing, but it has to. That's what I'm saying. Is per the concept, it has to belong to a perspective or a certain belief.
It's
That
a
means
collection of values. Is what a purpose is. It's a
no.
collection
I,
of
I
it's
think
it's a
I think
collection of
we are
values.
contradicting ourselves if we agree to the fact that purpose could be anything. Because of all the time I've been saying, your purpose is who you are, and now I'm saying, hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, you have a purpose.
No, it does. No, they both. I think they're both the same. I think that this is what I'm trying to say is it carries through. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're here or whether you're not. Is that purpose is a through line. Like, I mean, it is, like, your purpose will always be your purpose. I don't know how it evolves and grows with you while you're not physically here, but I think it's still. I think Amelia's purpose. I
I
think
mean,
Amelia's
that's the
still
thing
living her
is
purpose.
you're telling me something that you don't know how to explain. And so to me, that's still up for debate.
I 100%. I mean, like, debate. It is 100% up for
That's what
debate.
I'm saying is I
I
don't
that's
understand
yeah.
how a purpose doesn't have a because when you look from a perspective, they have to be from one person looking out or from one entity looking out, right? Looking at something, that's called a perspective,
Mhm.
right? Perspective means looking out, but that means somebody has to be looking, has to be the looking. So to me, a purpose, right? So you and I don't have the same purpose. Why?
We're not the same person.
But we are still human. We can be of use.
There
We
are
can both
certain
be
things.
cadaver.
there are certain things that we share in common that like I think there's a lot of I think our purpose is multifaceted. I mean, you're talking about an individual, unique, defined purpose, but I mean, as a collective, as humans, I think we
Right,
also have a
collective as a
purpose.
human is also from that perspective, perspective of humanity,
Mhm.
from the perspective of the whole country, from the perspective of a whole religion, right? That's still an owner. An owner. I mean, I'm an owner is not a person. Don't have to be a person. It could be a person. It could be a whole company. It could be a whole tribe. It could be a whole whatever. It could be Mother Nature. Mother Nature isn't a person. It isn't even an entity. But from the Mother Nature's perspective, she is the owner of the cycles of things. Like
Sure.
her purpose is cycle stuff. So when I say an owner, that means like it has to have some kind of point of reference.
Um, I don't know. It's tough. Like it's tough to say. So I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I feel like let's just pretend the Catholic Church. We'll just use the Catholic Church for example, or no, let's use the United States because that's it's because that's probably even easier. If the United States went away tomorrow, there would be a whole lot of people that still believed in freedom and the shared values that made up
But
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
that's their
Um,
purpose. That's the
but
new. Let's say Canada, right? Canada, well, they still exist. They still believe in freedom because they saw United States and they saw the freedom and they are inspired to acquire that purpose. So
right,
it's Canada's purpose. It's not United States' purpose anymore. If United States doesn't exist anymore, therefore it isn't United States' purpose. It is Canada's purpose to be like the United States, to have what they thought was good that the United States had, which is, freedom, right? And so to me, the perspective has to carry on from the person looking. You have to have the eye to look through the spyglass. You can't have a spyglass while looking through. So just like
yeah, but everybody builds on everybody, whether it's Greeks and Romans and and then
it doesn't matter. But
Samaria
that's my point,
and
though. That's my point, though.
every
It doesn't matter to me, Chris. It doesn't matter to me, right? What I do, right? You say I say I'm a beaver. When I'm alive, I want to be in the river where I can build my dam. When I'm dead, throw me into the icy river. I don't fucking care. I'm
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I'm not saying that your purpose is the same. Sorry, I'm not saying that your purpose manifests itself with the same actions. But I do think that your purpose continues.
well, how so? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, like I
well, you
told you.
can't
No,
say it if you don't know how.
no. Well, like I don't. Like this is the most abstract upon abstract concepts ever. I mean, this is something I've been writing about, purpose for years now. And I mean, I can't tell you, like, I can tell you what purpose feels like today, and we can say things like
I mean,
concrete
the thing
examples
is,
like a
there's
beaver
no
meets man.
debate,
But
right?
I don't know what happens
They can't
after.
they can't be in a discussion
I know
if
how I
you
feel.
if you
I
believe something. But the only thing I can say is, okay, Chris, I I guess, right? Because I don't know either. So I cannot add on to anything that you said because you didn't give me anything to.
you're not wrong about that. I mean,
I
this is
mean, the only thing I can do is accept what you feel. I say,
I'm
okay, that's fair.
I agree. I agree. I mean, this is not one of the most concrete examples that I can give anybody. All I can say is like I gave some examples in here of like you know um Amelia's doctor taking one tiny step toward understanding the disease of neck and helping other babies someday, or
But
Amelia changed
that's
my life
but
and
that's
helped
the
me to
thing
see
is
my
that's a
purpose.
doctor's purpose. They're using Amelia's as a stepping stone to the next phase, right?
Right.
Amelia's, the ability to study her is just merely a, to me, a coincidence. Hey,
No,
it happens.
I disagree. Like I
I
mean,
mean,
like
you telling me that she was born with the duty to die early
no,
so
I
that a
understand that. Yeah.
doctor can examine her and
I'm
be more
I'm not
advanced.
saying
To
that.
me,
I'm
I
I feel angry.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
feel
not saying that.
angry.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Yeah.
but logically, that's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that whatever shiny shining purpose that she displayed in her time still stays when she's not here. Same thing with the United States. Whether the United States disappears tomorrow, like if you're going back to that example, it still existed and it still will live. The values that they shared with this world will carry on, and people will, and it will continue to help persuade, inspire,
I mean,
and
dinosaurs, they may supposedly have lived. Right? Where are they? What's the purpose? To make oil? That's probably
could,
another
could
another another
could be.
fake, right? But the thing is, we have no idea, right? You're talking about there are ancient
I don't
civilizations
know. Yeah,
beyond the thing that we are supposed to study, like the Mayan and the Aztec, whatever. Beyond them, right? We have no fucking clue. You can't say the
I
United
agree.
States is going to persist and their purpose is going to continue. How does it continue? The
I don't
only
know.
way that the
I
only
don't
way I
know.
see, the only way I see is you inspire the purpose to be taken on as a flame. Like the flame pass, the torch is passing on, and the flame lives in you. So it's your purpose, Chris, that you carry on Amelia's inspirations.
In this life
Canada,
now.
Mexico, or what other country wants to carry on the freedom that the United States has brought forth, right? Then it carries on because it lives in a new purpose, in a new perspective, in a new owner. It cannot live on if it dies. To me, purpose has to have an owner. An owner is perspective. Perspective means that it is from that person's point of view or entity's point of view. This is how we like things to be done and how we feel when we do it that way.
But it still exists though, true? Like I mean, like it doesn't matter whether it's like no one owned it is the point. Like then what you're saying is Amelia didn't own it, I don't own it. Like and I mean maybe
No,
that is
you
the
own
case.
your purpose. You own
Ah,
your purpose.
but
Uh,
do you like I mean like if I'm just
Yes, you
gonna pass it
do.
on to somebody else, like
Yes, you
I own it.
do.
I
No,
own it for the
no,
time
no.
that I'm here is what you're saying, and that's fine. But like and then it's my duty to keep the flame growing and pass
No,
it on to
it's
somebody
not.
else, which
It's up
it's
to
all
you to
it's
do whatever you want, right?
call whatever the name you want to call it is that carries the torch next. It's still being built on the backs of on the foundation of a lot of people that have come before, to be able to get to that point in time. Like I mean,
But
like so it
to
still
me,
continues.
that isn't a good, uh, scenario, a case example to say, you're supposed to do certain thing. You're supposed to pass on. You're not supposed to do anything. You're
I
supposed
didn't
to
say you're
be,
supposed to.
yeah.
I said when you if you are doing that, you're just one step link in the chain of purpose, not your purpose.
I don't think there's a purpose. I mean, what we talking about, like random events. We're talking about Black Swan. We're talking about atomic bombs, right? Where did it come from? Is there a purpose for atomic bomb? For the time that you had,
I don't
was there a
know.
purpose?
I don't know. Like this is the
I mean,
point.
is
Is like
it? I mean, to me, what's the purpose of the turkey in this the 1001 day? You telling me there's a
I don't know.
purpose for every single thing, right? And I
Mhm.
agree to the point that you have a purpose to do things that makes you feel like you are who you supposed to be. If you are a donkey, you have a certain physical trait that wants to gallop in the field. Therefore, you cannot be cooped up in a shed. Therefore, you want to do the activity that give you the most positive feedback for you and yourself. To me, that's purpose in itself. It ends and of itself. It's not for me. My
In this
purpose,
life, in this
my
life,
purpose is my
as we know it.
purpose, right? My purpose is my purpose. If I happen to come across your purpose and it happens to align, then we basically use each other's purpose to kind of leverage each other up. But as far as my purpose is, whether you do what you do and I do what I do without even talking to each other, you still gotta do what you gotta do. Because, like I say, you can only live your life. I cannot live your life for you. I can tell you, hey, Chris, your purpose is sit in a corner and code for like 18 hours a day, right? I can't tell you that because you're not me, right? And no one can tell you, hey, you should do this, should do that, because even if it's your mother or your closest person in your family, It doesn't matter. You still have to live your life. If you get sick, you still have to deal with the pain. They cannot take the pain away from you. So for me, purpose is that particular definition. Has nothing to do with have the ability to go and be a you know, a good contribution to society. I mean, I don't have to do that, and I want to because maybe in my DNA that wants to give something to society because it makes me feel good. But I don't have to do it. I mean, as far as if I wouldn't in essence has no control over how I feel, then to me, like put me anywhere. It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't feel anything. And so if you say that if that's a purpose, then it clashes with how I define or how we had defined purposes thus far for the longest time. Because I'm saying a beaver must dam. I mean, the thing is that's purpose. And now you tell me a beaver
no,
don't have to dam and still have a purpose. And if you
no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say
no,
that.
but by logic,
I said once the beaver stops damming, the day that the beaver can no longer dam, that does not mean that the beaver no longer has a purpose. Is what I'm saying.
But that doesn't make sense to me. Explain to me how is that?
I don't know.
Then you cannot claim it.
I didn't. I mean, like this goes
Well, the
back
thing
to
is, you can put a pin on it and say, well, this is what I gotta explore, and I'll come back and claim it later.
yes,
you cannot claim it unless you have
fair.
a reason
That
to.
is fair.
You can't say, okay, I really believe in my heart, right? I mean, the thing is, the only thing I can do is say, okay, Chris, if you believe it, but I still don't understand it, and you can't explain it, then okay. But if we're still at a standstill, we're still at a stalemate because I still don't know, and you still don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the fun of it, right? Like it's one of our core values. We don't know shit. We're trying to figure it out.
We're trying to figure it out, but the thing is, you cannot claim something.
I agree.
Until
I mean, I can't.
We have to at least have some guesses.
That is one of the ultimate mysteries of this world, right? Is what happens when we're no longer here. So I don't know that I'll ever know. But I mean, I can certainly keep exploring and trying to figure out like why I feel like this. Like I feel like she's still here. Like I don't know
and
why.
That's fine. It has nothing to do with
Still
her.
doing
It
what
does
she's
nothing
doing,
with you. You are the one who feels it. She doesn't feel anything.
I don't know that. I don't know that. I mean, I really don't.
We don't know that.
I don't. I mean, like, and I can't definitively say that like there isn't a connection. Maybe
Right, because
not
right now
physically.
you say I don't know something. I believe in this way, and I say,
Right.
well, I still don't understand, and I may not believe in that way.
Sorry,
So
not
the only
believe,
thing
believes the wrong word. I feel it. Like I don't know how to just I don't know why I feel that, and I don't know if what I feel is wrong. But we talk about this stuff all the time. It's like it's like running uphill or running downhill. Like if you feel something, you're probably going in the right direction. And there's probably a reason for it. Like, and you just haven't figured it out yet. But like, go at
exactly,
it.
you still haven't figured it out yet, but
Right,
you
yeah.
can't say, hey, I claim this because I feel so. Right?
I don't disagree with that.
Feel that you owe me $1 million, Chris. I
mean,
feel I feel it. I feel it
fair,
deep in my heart, right?
fair enough. I mean,
From the bottom of my foot to the top of my head, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you can't claim it
I
can't. There's nothing I can say.
It's not that I can't claim it.
There's nothing I can say to you if you say that. The only thing I can say is okay. I mean,
well, you're right. Like, and I actually, it's funny you bring that up because, like, I used to, as a kid, like the ultimate,
well, at least I'm a millionaire.
The ultimate, right. Yeah,
because I'm claiming it.
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, what is it? But you could claim. I mean, hell, like this world, you
I need to send you a bill.
Yeah, you can pick anything you want, right? No, when I was a kid, the ultimate frustration that I used to have, when I was like a teenager and really into my 20s, like mid 20s or something like that. My mother and grandmother are like very devout Catholics, right? Like, I mean, I went to a Catholic grade school, I went to a Catholic high school, and my dad, he had to marry in order to marry my mom. My mom made him convert from I don't know, I think he was like Methodist or something like that. And he didn't care. He didn't really practice it anyway, but he converted to Catholicism to marry my mom. And my mom is very serious about this stuff, right? and it resulted in my dad is more of a likes to poke holes in theories, and is a little bit more similar to me in this kind of regard, of likes to call people out, when like what you're doing right now of going, well, I hear you, but like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you know what I mean? I can't understand it. So I'm gonna go and poke holes into that protective shield of that you call faith, right? Like, and this was the word that drove me nuts as a child, because my mom and my dad would fight all the time about faith, right? And my dad would try to poke holes in it. My mom would say, well, you know what? I just have faith. Like, and it was the ultimate conversation stopper, because you're like, well, I can't argue with that. Like, there is no argument. If you tell me that's how you feel, like, then you're like, well, how can nobody can argue with that? And like, and that's why that's actually why religion probably has survived, because like you can't argue with something that's a complete unknown that no one knows, right? Like, you either believe it or you don't, and you can keep exploring it if you want to, but that's where the rubber,
So that's what you're doing to me.
a hard line. I know. That's what I just said. It's funny you say this, because I normally try to be pretty concrete when I'm giving an example about something, and for whatever reason, I can't tell you why I feel yet. Like, at least yet, I can't tell you yet why I feel like this. That purpose evolves and keeps going, and that person retains that, and it manifests itself a little bit differently, but that purpose goes on and on and on, and I don't know why, and I can't tell you. I just have faith that that's how I feel inside, that she is still doing her thing, and I think that we all do our thing. It just, I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you this: if you went to sleep and did not wake up, okay, question would be, would Amelia's purpose still continues?
Yes.
In what way? How?
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, like I said, I cannot say anything other than okay.
Right. Well, because I mean, I can't argue. Like, that's the other thing of faith. Like, nobody knows, right? Like, and it's like there is no answer. There is no argument that can be had. Like, you can try to poke as many holes as you want to, but you're poking holes into somebody that doesn't know any of the answers anyway, right? Like, and you're like, well, I don't know the answer. Like, you can challenge me all day long on it. I don't know the answer. Like, I mean, like, so whatever you say, you could be right. I mean, but I don't know. Like, yeah.
Okay. That's the only thing I can say is okay.
Yeah, right. And that's
because there's no sense in saying something because it has no connections to what we're saying. Because you say is I feel that way. Well,
yeah.
How do I even say anything that makes sense?
Like, you don't. It's like, what's the point of life? Like, I don't know. I mean, we can guess at it, like, but like, I don't know. Like, I mean, these are questions that have no answers. Like, and it really just comes down to how you feel or you don't feel. I mean, in all seriousness, and I don't know why I feel very connected to through this whole journey. I've told you this before. Like, I mean, I feel very connected to all things, a lot more so than I did before this journey began. And a part of that is things
maybe
aren't even
because
here.
you're more attuned to the things that was ignored by you before.
I mean, that absolutely is the case.
So it was always there before. It just you ignored it because you had other focus. Like,
I was trying to focus on rationality and reason and coming up with understandings as to why this stuff is. Like,
I mean, the thing is, if you walk through the garden, right, or you went through the palace and you're holding a spoon, you didn't see any grandeur of the palace. This is exactly what the story is talking about. You didn't focus, and therefore you didn't see it. If you walk through the garden and you didn't smell anything, right? It's because you did not keen your senses on the aroma of the roses that are in the garden. You just maybe you need to talk to somebody and you run across the garden, right? But my question would be, was the aroma there when you crossed? You did not smell it. Doesn't mean it wasn't there.
Well, it's true.
For you to be attuned to things now, it doesn't mean that I wasn't. existing
I
in
agree.
the past when you ignored it.
I totally agree with that statement. It reminds me of that book. Did you ever read that book, My Stroke of Insight? I don't know if you ever
No
did
need.
you ever? Yeah. I mean, I think you would love that book. The when her what is it? Is your left, no, is it your right brain is your creative brain, and your left brain is your
You left.
rational brain? Your left is a creative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like the more abstract part of your brain. So
Actually,
her
you're right. I'm sorry, my part.
that's what I thought. So
You're right. Your right side.
you're right is like the abstract, like art, kind of,
Right.
connected, kind of space, and the
You know,
left is your
you know
rational.
how I kind of do the connection, because most people are right-handed, so most of their
Right.
logic comes from the left side to control the right. On the right side controls the left, and the left doesn't do too much thing because it's reserved for creativity.
Fair enough. Yeah. So that makes sense. So so this whole book, she had a stroke in her left side of her brain. And it affected her, obviously her ability to speak, her ability to have rational thought. It's like to numbers and logic and things like that. Like, she had none of that. But what she did have was all of her right side, and she just felt like she was floating, through time and space, for years. Like, she was just like, I just exist, like, I'm here, like, I don't know, like, what that means, but that connection to a bigger world exists with us. It's just that we spend so much time trying to find the logic and the rationality with our left. We are conditioned very much so in this world to be, left brain thinking at almost all times. Like, if it doesn't make sense, if there is no logic to it, then we just
Right.
discount something as like, well, this can't possibly be, like, it doesn't, there is no logic to it. But what I'm kind of saying is like, and this is why a lot of people do like ayahuasca and like psilocybin and, and mushrooms and stuff like that, because it disconnects it turns your fucking, the logic off
I
for
mean,
a
you think
while,
about you have the gush from the fire hydrant, right? It coming out of the hose. It's just coming out.
right.
You don't notice it dripping that it's in the sink. You
Yeah.
just don't, because until you shut off the fire hydrant, then you notice it dripping in the sink. So
Right.
to me, when that fire hydrant was gushing out those water, like massive amount of water, the dripping in the sink still happens. It's just that you didn't notice it. So the thing is, our brains, our left side is controlling the motor, controlling a lot of things we see, a lot of the thing that we do, right? It is so
Math,
dominant.
logic, science,
It's so
yeah.
dominant, like the fire hydrant. Like, you open it, it gush out, and
Right.
you can there's no way you can like see the dripping of another faucet like nearby. This is not possible, right?
Right.
And so I think whenever you can shut down the dominant, whatever that's distracting you the most, because you feel like, oh, it's hot or it's cold, or it's heavy, or it's this, or it's humid, because those are dominant. It's always like blasting your neurons with these signals, right? Any other signals is basically completely over, it's masked over, so you can't hear it. The moment you shut down, then you can hear that. Just like, when you have these mushroom, right? They actually shuts down your movement, your motor, right? On
Mhm.
Because the thing is, when you're in the dream state, you feel like you're floating, because your sensors, your signal is not receiving the signal from your hand to hand. There's gravity. I feel gravity, right? That's why you feel like you're floating,
Mhm.
because those sensor is being blocked, and then it allows the right brain, the creative part of your brain, to to become more focused. And
So
this is what.
are you agreeing with me now? I guess,
But I
is it,
agree with
yeah.
you in terms of but not for purpose.
I was gonna say, did I somehow magically talk you into this one?
No, no, I still don't understand purpose, and the
Well,
way that you
but you
describe it.
were getting close to what I was what I'm saying is like, there's this beyond that connects us all for all time and space that I don't know how it just does. Like, I mean, like but like I can't like literally I can't explain it because it's not explainable. Like the whole point is it's not explainable. There is no logic to it. Like there is no rationality to it. There is no science to it. There
But
is no
I still don't can't connect between what you just say and the purpose that continues on when
because
when you're not.
purpose is abstract. Purpose is the way that you connect all things together. Like purpose is how
That's what I'm
like
saying
the
is
dead and the living and
when
everything
you are
all come together.
when you die and you return to dust, right? In this sense, you're saying that you still have purpose even though you're in dust because you're part
Yeah,
of the universal, whatever
it just evolves.
collective, right?
Sure.
The universal collective. So to me, that purpose, like I don't know it, I don't understand it, right?
I don't either.
Whether you feel it or whether I feel it, I still don't know. I don't know.
I don't either. Like I mean,
But so if you don't know, how can you say that's purpose?
I,
It could be
I,
something else.
it could be something else.
I can't say
That's fair. I don't know
I
the
don't have
word
to
to describe
deny
this.
that I think there
Actually,
is some kind of collective like consciousness, but to say that becomes your purpose, where do you draw the connection?
that's a great point, and that's something that I can't like I can't argue with. Maybe there is no word that can describe what I'm describing, or what I'm thinking, because words are really left brain thinking for the most part. I mean, like it's there is no. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a good point. Like
I mean, you can call it something else. Like I said, there's not a word for it, but purpose, I don't think is the right word. And
I
if you
that's
use the
fair.
word purpose and it's confusing me with what I know and believe, you just basically, rip the rug from under my foot. I don't know how to stand.
So I just I just went back to look at my notes really fast about uh, my stroke of insight. She said, like, she remembered how she felt being in the presence of others when she was in a coma, and she couldn't speak or make any sense of it, but she could feel the energy. Like she could literally feel the energy of the people around her. She knew when like a certain nurse or something like that, was a dick, or when they were kind. Like she knew she could sense the energy in the world because that's all that she could feel. Like she couldn't feel any words or she couldn't make words out of it. She could just feel. Like that was it. Like it was literally a
Okay,
feeling. Like
and
and
let's.
I mean,
I mean, I don't think that's far fetched, and I
right.
may be inclined to believe it. And I think there are ways for us to be able to do that because when we are normal, like everybody else, our dominant, I guess sensors or sensories or the hear, touch, right, and the
Mhm.
see. We basically see most of it, but there are like maybe like we're talking about 60% vision, like 30% hearing, and then like 9% touch,
Mhm.
right? And there's like 1% with bunch of other minuscule aura of different things that you can pick up the brain waves on. You can pick up brain waves as well, right? And you can
Mhm.
feel somebody's, right? I mean, let's say you listen to a song in a foreign language. Do you feel any emotion depending on the kind of song that was sung to you,
In a foreign language, yes.
right?
It depends on like the cadence,
Exactly.
the momentum,
So there is more
the
than one
rhythm.
ways.
Yeah.
There's more than the five senses for us to understand our world. It's just that, like I say, when you turn on the fire hydrant, you don't see the drip. But when you shut off the fire hydrant, you hear the drips. And
I
so
mean,
those sensory that you have that was so small, it starts to be the only thing that you can use to you know, take the inputs into what into what you can analyze. And I think you can do that. And I am inclined to believe that that is possible. But like I say, what we say in that sense still doesn't connect to the word purpose.
I agree. I was going to say the other thing that as I'm looking back through these notes, her her she said her entire concept of self completely shifted for years of her life, you know, and she stopped thinking in language and just started thinking and as she put it, and in the moment, and an attachment to an eternal flow. She called herself fluid. Like literally, she was like, I just felt like I was fluid at all times. And actually, as she got back into her language and her logic being slowly retrained over like an 8-year period of time when she was recovering from the stroke, she was like, to be honest, she was like, I missed
you lose it because you turn
Yeah.
on the 500 again.
yeah
So
yeah yeah,
so to
and
me, when you have this physical need, you are basically constraining yourself, you shackle yourself to this world.
Agreed.
If you remove yourself from the physical earthly world, right, you feel more free because most of you are essentially what you think. So if you, because then for most of us, right, we are hungry, we want this, we want that, because our body is all constantly nagging at us, do this to do that, right? That's what I'm saying. Your purpose has to kind of satisfy this monster, this physical monster. Your body aches, right? Your body hurt. Your body get tired, right? Your body wants, to eat, wants to nourish itself or whatever. It constantly. But the moment that these guys are not bugging you anymore, then you can be yourself. So when we're talking about like peace of mind, we don't actually about talking about peace of mind. We talk about peace from mind. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah. No. You're right. Actually, that's funny.
and so for me, it's
She said that too. I mean, it was no. I mean that's really good. That's it's funny. She said the exact same thing. It's like I felt like I was finally like
and
could turn the
that's a kind of
liberated from her body is what she called it. Yeah. She's
and
like a
that is
genie
the
out of the
kind of
bottle.
state that you want to be in. And to
No,
me,
maybe not always. Like, I mean, there is a give and take. There's a balance is important, right? Like, but
well, the
I think
thing is, like I
understanding
say,
the
it goes down to what you are and how you received your world and yourself. Because if you
yeah,
perceive yourself to be something different, then you have a different drive. You drive to do something else. Because,
it's
like I say, to other people, they cannot have what I want because it will drive them insane. I mean, I can just take me and you for example. If you take my life for a while, you're going to go insane because for me is I like to be 80% in solitude. I mean
yeah.
I
Well,
like to spend time
I
by
like to
myself.
be I like to be by
80%,
myself.
80%, 80%, 80%. Okay, you
Well,
cannot do 80%
that's
because you
fair. I
have
mean,
to go out there and you
yeah.
have to talk to people
I
because
don't have to talk to people. I like to be around people. Like, I mean,
well,
I don't know that I need to talk to them, but like,
well, yeah,
yeah,
my point is the same. I mean,
yeah,
regardless what kind of pose you're trying to poke, my point's the
right.
same, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Yeah,
Because that's my genetic makeup. That's my outlook on how I see myself and how I receive positive emotion because of. I mean, for me is I go out for an hour. I go back home and I sit by myself and I just sit there and I think, or I just do nothing, right? I can do nothing better than anybody else because, but for other people, they cannot do nothing.
no, I mean,
Right? They have to.
I struggle with doing nothing for sure. I mean, that is really hard for me to do nothing. Like, if I'm doing nothing, actually, I
That
like
means
going like a downward
that
spiral when I
means
do
that if
nothing.
you
You
and
know.
I were stuck on a desert island, each on by ourselves, I probably last longer than you.
No, that's not true. I would just find shit to do every day. Like, I mean, I would go,
By
run around the
yourself,
beach. Yeah, I'd
no,
go run around the beach.
no,
I'd
no.
yeah,
You get bored.
no, I would literally just go find stuff to do all day long. Like, I mean, I would like to do stuff. Like,
But
I
you're
would just,
still missing part of who you are. Is this person is a social person.
I always have,
You're gonna talk to the coconut like
I
Wusam
always
did.
have, I always have the connected, brain now to
Okay,
the,
well maybe you have a hack, but it's the same thing. Is
it's not a hack. That's not a hack. Like,
you are still living a purpose, even though you are by yourself. But that's the same activity that would make you, a person that feel fulfilled.
yeah, no, it helps me to connect to the broader humanity and or all things. whenever I do that stuff. Honestly, like I mean, so I don't ever feel alone, even when I'm alone anymore. I mean, I mean that like sincerely. Like I don't. I mean, it's not like I have voices in my head or something like that, but like I don't feel like I feel like I'm very connected.
But let me ask you that question. What if that was you to be alone before you had your atomic bomb? How would you?
Oh,
How would?
it was torture. I mean, like it's not like I mean I don't disagree. I'm saying this is something that Amelia and I have learned together, you know, through this journey. Like in my opinion, yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is, we have a certain, I guess, affinity toward different activities just
Yeah.
because we are built differently.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, well, so I this is I think it's probably a good time to probably put a pin on this one, but I'm actually pretty impressed that turned into like a pretty serious conversation. So I don't know where that one came from, but that was fun. You should really read. I mean, I'm highly recommending you to read My Struggle
Okay.
of Insight. I mean, I really got a lot out of that because it was great to kind of I don't know. There was something about it that it, like just connected a lot of dots for me personally, of how life works. You know, I don't know. It was just it was really interesting. Like I
Okay.
feel like
I'll check it out. I'll probably
yeah,
download it tonight.
awesome. All right. Well, I feel like that's a good place to stop for the night. That was fun though. That was a fun conversation though.
Sure. It's always fun.
Yeah,
It's always
yeah,
fun to discover. Like I said, I just need to try to understand.
right. Well, I think my summary of this one is like there is no language that can describe what I was trying to describe, which is kind of the
And
point.
I can agree with that.
Right.
I can
Right.
certainly respect that. But that's what I'm saying is, the language is not exist. The word doesn't exist for what you want to pen it. So you can't take something else in its place.
You know, it
And
reminds
to
me of
me, that caused a confusion in my head
it
for
does.
a bit.
Well, actually, I was literally just writing about this today. I told you about the tappers and listeners. Did I tell you about that?
Mm-mm,
The Made to Stick book that I just read.
mm-hmm,
Uh, there was a Stanford study where they called it tappers and listeners, and they asked people to like they gave them a song like the Star Spangled Band birthday, you know, and they said you have to tap, tap it on like on a table or something like that. The song like Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, like tap it
mm-hmm.
out like so they can only hear like the taps, right? And then there was somebody that would come in the room, they would listen, and they would ask both of them like how do you I just lost your I don't know where you went. Can you hear me? Oh, there you go. They would ask the person that was tapping after they gave him the song, like, what do you think the percentage of the people are gonna get the song right after after you do the tapping? Do you remember? Do you know what their answer was?
No, I forgot.
Yes. How many people do you think? If I said tap Happy Birthday to you on a table, and then just somebody would come in, how many people do you think would get that out of 100?
I would say 80%.
80%. Okay. So do you know what the actual answer was?
What?
2.5%. No joke. I mean, out of they did it 150 times or something like that. It was like
Uh-huh.
it was only 3 people got it right. The tapping, or the only 3 listeners got the tapping song right.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to what you were just saying. Is like, and this is what I was writing about this morning. Is like I can't hear your song, right? Like you can't hear my song that's in my head of what I'm feeling, and like I can feel like what I'm saying to you when I talk about Amelia, but I can't express it in a way that in a song that or any in
Right.
a
So
tune
it's
understand,
it's a loss of information once you
Yeah,
transfer through a medium that is not perfect.
exactly. Or
Because
in this case, doesn't exist. Maybe I mean, like I don't.
well,
I'm
that's
sorry.
not perfect because
Yeah,
you have
right.
to trim it. It's a loss, right? It's a loss of information when you transfer it. And so when you
Right.
transfer it, because the conduit using through language is constraining. Therefore, whatever else doesn't fit get cut out. And so when it came through purpose. Like, what the hell is purpose?
Well, you are very right. You know, I think we should write that one down officially as a truism. Is like, and this didn't technically come from you, but I mean, you can use it, I guess. But I can't hear your song. So next time I'm saying something or you're saying something and I don't understand, I'm just gonna be like, I can't hear your song, man. Like I don't know what you're like, I don't know what tune's going on in your head, but like like that's like a code word of like you need to do a better job of using language to explain this, or give me some concrete examples of what the fuck you're talking about, because I cannot hear what's going on in your head right now. You know.
Yeah, okay. You got to give them more clues. You can't just say,
Yeah.
It's fake.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
yeah.
Well, what else besides faith? Can you give me something else?
Nope, that's
Give me
the
another
ultimate.
clue. Give me another clue.
That's the ultimate conversation ender. It's like, well, I have faith, man. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Let's call it a night. That was fun. All right. Well, we'll see you all tomorrow, and thanks for joining.
All right. See you. Good night.